Happy birthday, man. Happy 70th. So you walk into CJ's Ribs.
Yeah.
And Monday you think we're going to meet my sister.
Right.
And tell me what happened as we were getting out of the truck and all that. Tell me about that.
Well, I'm just, all right, here we go to meet Timmy's sister who's having a vodka martini or something at the garage at CJ's, and you're going ahead of me like about 20 feet, and you come on, hop along. And I said, dude, you get a knee replacement and you try to keep up. And I said, I'm coming, chill. And you open the door to CJ's garage, and immediately I see a face, two faces, three faces that I recognize, and I go, wait a minute, what? And then the whole stinking room, family and friends, and they're all, yay, happy birthday! And happy birthday!
Gotcha.
I guess my sister's not coming, so.
Oh, wow. And then it's still, I'm going, was Timmy's sister here? You know, because you had me hook, line, and sinker on that story. I thought I was going to Bridger the next day.
Hi, KVA. Sam and Sherry here from Florida, wishing you a very happy birthday and sending a whole lot of love. Sure appreciate you. The years that we've had the opportunity to be together in Billings, times when we've come back to Billings to see you and you see us. You're a great friend, always a hard worker. Love you lots. And again, happy birthday, my friend. God bless.
Happy birthday, Kim. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Kim Vanarsdale. Happy birthday to you and many more. Hey, I hope you have a great birthday.
Hey KVA, I heard you're having a birthday coming up. I heard you're turning 35. You must have been 35 because when I was growing up, I always thought you were a Highlander, so you're going to live forever. So, but happy birthday. And I want to say thank you for being amazing. Thank you for taking time to mentor me when I was younger. And thank you for everything that I learned from you, not just how to build things, but also how to live for God. You have a passion for God that was contagious, and so thank you for stepping up and being a man of God that changed my life and changed my heart. So happy birthday. Love you, man. Bye.
Kim Vanarsdale, there is no way you are 70 years old. This doesn't really go with KVA. You know, I could have had a KV80, maybe in 10 years, right? Hey, just want to wish you a happy birthday, my friend. So many great fond memories of working with you back in the day. All the time that you invested in the youth group and to me personally, it made a big impact, a big difference. And of course, I'll never forget the day that we were coming back from camp or some youth event, climbing up some pass in Montana, and the bus is chugging along at 0.5 miles an hour. And you announced to everybody in the bus, I can run faster than this bus is going. And of course we said, do it, K, do it, KVA, come on, show us. So of course, you couldn't pass that up. Went to the front, opened the doors. I don't know who was driving. Could have been Larry or Tim, who knows. And sure enough, as you leaped out of the bus, you apparently couldn't go as fast as the bus was going when you hit the ground, because you hit the ground and fell and got nice road rash all over your arms and legs. But of course, that made you a hero in our books. You've always been a hero to me, KVA. Thanks so much for your friendship, for your life, for your commitment to Christ, and your example to the rest of us. Love you, buddy. Happy birthday.
I could have done a VA. I mean, after 20 years of youth ministry. There are no other youth workers that you could just use that phrase, and people would come up with a lot of wonderful mental ideas. We have a youth retreat in Fairmont Hot Springs, and I get there and I find out that my youth worker driving a bus, driving it up a mountain pass, actually jumps out of the bus while it's going. Somehow he passed on the drivership to some 16-year-old or whoever it was and thought he could go run faster than that bus ran. And he tumbles and he beats himself up, and guess what? I could have done a VA. Kim, you just are one of those type of guys that just created a whole lot of wonderful stories and a wonderful life. Appreciate you, buddy. I'll never forget you. I could have done a VA.
KVA, man, tell you what, just saying those 3 letters brings an amazing smile to my face and a ton of memories, man. I just want to say a big old happy birthday to you. You know, I can tell you from Montana to Washington to Texas, there's one thing you can't replace, and that is the friendships that you had from decades ago. And KV, I just want to tell you how much I appreciate you, how much I appreciate our past. And man, I sure wish we could have a future seeing each other together. But regardless of that, I know that we're together in spirit and in heart and in attitude and an expectation of friendship. And I just want to say again, happy birthday to you, and thank you so much for being who you are. You bring joy to absolutely everybody that you meet, man. I tell you what, there's not a day that I think about you, which is actually a lot, that I just don't wish that I was around you, because you're an inspiration. And I just want to say again, I appreciate you, brother, from the bottom of my heart. And should you find yourself in Texas, please come hang out. Let's hook up, break bread together, and relish in the past, but talk about the future. Love you.
Hey, Kim. I just wanted to wish you a happy birthday, buddy. And, you know, it's a pleasure walking side by side with you during this rehabilitation program on our knees. You're a great mentor, and you've shown me a great way to get through this and be able to handle it. And I hope you and the family and all of the people that show up for your birthday have a great time. And just know, buddy, that I love you and I'm thinking about you. Happy birthday. Bye-bye.
Hey, KVA. This is your good friend Perry Calavig coming to you right from Sacramento, California, really Elk Grove where I live. But man, I just want to wish you the happiest of birthdays. You're such a great person, and this is a great day, and I guess it's a change of decades, right? Like, are you turning version 7.0? Man, I'll tell you what, how did we get here so fast, right? But I want to just, hey, thank you, Kim. Many years ago when I was a youth pastor in Billings, Montana, you just really befriended me, and we went skiing together so many times. I remember skiing the Lazy M, and you taught me how to ski, and I really have had so many great years of enjoyment on the slopes. But the thing that I remember most about you is your love for God and your love for others. And that's why so many people love you, and you have so many friends, KV. And so just want to wish you the happiest of birthdays, and join all of the others who are doing the same today. Love you so much, man. Hope to see you sometime soon. God bless you.
What's going on, KVA? Hard to believe you're 7-0. I still really don't believe it. But anyway, happy birthday from KC. Miss ya. Have a great day. Catch you later.
KVA, man, this is so cool that I get to be a part of this birthday. I'm so glad I met you, and I'm so glad that I get to be a part of your life, and you get to be a part of my life. And so, brother, happy birthday. Enjoy it. You're awesome.
Hey, Uncle Kim. It's your favorite nephew, Brandon. I just wanted to wish you a happy 70th birthday. I'm sorry I can't be there on this great night, but I'm really stoked for you, Kim. You old man, you. Even though you don't look a day over 65. But Kim, quite honestly, you have the youngest spirit of the entire Vanarsdale clan. And if I could have half the spirit that you do at your age, I think I'm going to be a pretty lucky man. I'm really grateful for you being my uncle, Kim. We've had some really good times together. I enjoy staying in touch with you. And yeah, I look forward to going on more rivers with you and the family and everybody else. But yeah, I just really want you to have a happy birthday today. Happy 70th. You got another 40 years in you, I bet. So looking forward to it, Kim. Talk to you later, buddy.
Hey, Kim. Happy birthday, bro. I'm at work, so thank goodness I have access to my stuff. For your birthday, I just want to give you a little blessing with holy water, being your Catholic friend. Just to say, bless you. If you need some palm crosses, Easter's coming up. I'll send you as many as you want. Blessed Mother sends her love. And some Elim and Phorium for you as well. And a little dust for you since you're kind of up there. All right, happy birthday.
I've been racking my brain the last couple of days trying to think of a funny story of me and Kim Vanarsdale. And I can't think of a funny one of me and him. I can think of plenty of funny stories of him and other people, but not funny stories of me and him. But I had to think every time I hung out with him, he was always teaching me a godly principle of some sort, or a thing about stewardship of some sort. And the many times I had a chance to work with him, make a little extra money on the side, working for his company, doing construction, I'll never forget every time in the truck, every day we go out and work, before we'd start working, he'd pull out a devotional, he'd pull out his Bible, and we would have a devotional time together in the truck, and we would pray before we'd start working. And so as much as I was trying to find a funny memory of KVA for his birthday, I couldn't find a funny memory. I just couldn't, of me anyway. I've got tons of funny stories of him and other people, but I can't think of one with me. But I guess the best way I could say happy birthday to KVA and honor his 70th birthday is just to say, the best memories of him is that, he always puts God first. He puts God's word first. Very committed, very much committed to a prayer life. And is always about expanding the kingdom by the way of, teaching other people like me stewardship and other godly principles and manly type principles. And so God bless you, KVA. What a great testimony. Happy birthday.
Kim, Rick Richmond. We used to play ball together a long time ago. Yeah, Rick. We used to play ball together when you were younger. Just kidding. Seriously. Happy birthday, Kim. Julie and I want to wish you a wonderful 70th birthday. You've been such a blessing to us as we've worshiped together, ate a lot of meals out together, played a lot of ball, did some fishing, worked on some construction builds together, and you were always willing to give of your time and knowledge, and you even would lend your tools for some of my home projects. And I always thought I was so special, but then I come to find out you did that for everyone, hundreds of people. So I just want to say again that, what an example you are of giving and sacrifice, a real servant, just like, our Lord Jesus Christ. And I'm proud and honored to call you friend and brother, and we wish you many, many, many more years filled with fun and laughter and excellent health. We love you so much, Kim.
Hey Kim, just want to wish you a very happy birthday. 60 years old, I think it is. Anyway, just want to wish you a happy birthday. I think we met when I was 13, coming to youth group for the first time. Thought you're a pretty cool guy, and you still are. So, happy birthday, man. Take care.
Hey, what's up, Uncle Kim? Just wanted to wish you a happy 70th birthday, and thought I'd share something that changed my life, that you helped me to understand as a kid. One thing that you did that really stood out is we were talking one night late, and I don't know how we got on the subject of birthing, but all of a sudden you whipped out a sheet of paper and you started drawing an elephant, basically birthing a baby elephant. And yeah, you gave me the picture. I still have it to this day, and I treasure that image of literally a baby elephant head coming out of the butt of this giant mama elephant. I think you even drew like a cloud coming out of the mama's mouth that said owie or something. God, happy birthday.
Hey Kim, Ken Merkel here. I don't know if you remember the days when, back when we were young bucks, you were quite the stud, of course. Of course. And he used to lead our softball teams to victory, sometimes in the Big Sky State games even, sometimes the church state championship. Yeah, we were pretty close, something like that. Anyway, you're quite the young buck. We used to do build decks together, re-roof some places, do some strange things like Hans and Franz, and had some good times. Anyway, I remember one summer you seemed to be had enough of all the young women chasing you, and you just said, "Hey Ken, why don't we go down and get away from it all?" So we went down to the Gulf of Mexico and chartered a sailing boat, got on that thing and decided to catch some marlin off that sailboat. And we followed the school all the way down and around and up the west coast, up the Pacific, all the way, chased a school of marlin all the way up to Alaska. And you latched onto that huge marlin, you remember that? You were fighting it for like over an hour. And all of a sudden you heard this just strange squealing and noises going, "Woo! Oh, and you like looked over, and immediately you cut that marlin off your hook, and you saw this whale that was in danger, and you jumped straight off that sailboat and into the water, and you swam up and got in the whale's back and ran up, and you found an Eskimo child in the whale's blowhole, and you pull that thing out, and then you jump off and you get it back on the sailboat, and you save that whale's life, and you save the Eskimo child. And next thing you know, that whale's swimming off, stick his flipper up in the air, and he's waving it, "Thank you and goodbye, have a great life, thank you so much." You remember that? And then we sailed to the shore, and the Eskimo tribe were all cheering, and they built a totem pole and put it up on the banks to honor Kim Vanarsdale. You remember that? And to this day, I don't know if you still get them, but I still get letters from that child thanking us for being there that day. And even the Marlins family are sending us letters. I don't know if you got any of those. But anyway, it's been great hanging out with you off and on over all the years. And I'm sure you broke just a ton of hearts, and but you gave a lot of people enjoyment, and I'm sure they appreciate stories like this from you. And anyway, you have a great birthday, Kim. Miss you.
What was the impression you got from some of the different people that sent messages or chimed in with some funny stories? Tell me what that meant to you.
Humbled and blown away, surprised to hear from some, and honored, just thinking, wow, they thought that highly of me. They really loved me like that, to send those kind words. And yeah, I was just kind of sitting there and almost couldn't believe it, and was amazed.
You know, you grew up the oldest of 3 boys, and
Even though I look the youngest.
fair enough. You grew up the oldest. What was it like being the big brother in the Vanarsdale house when you were a kid?
I don't know. We all we did a lot of playing in the backyard, a lot of neighborhood sports games. We'd go up to Rocky Mountain College and play baseball and grab as many neighborhood kids as we could, because baseball, you need quite a few players. We played neighborhood football games in our front yard, in the neighbor's front yard, in our backyard. We'd have volleyball and badminton tournaments. We'd go on extended bike rides down to Duck Creek, south Hills area, across the Yellowstone River.
Was your family, did they camp a lot and hike a lot and do little vacations a lot? Did you guys do?
Yeah, we'd go out camping a lot in the summer growing up in Colorado, and even some as we got older in Montana, mountain camping. We had a little travel trailer, and we did all kinds of stuff in the summer. We go to the Lake Cooney and go fishing, go camping a lot of camping in the mountains.
I see that old aluminum boat out there. Is that one from when you were a kid?
Right, my dad had that, and we did floating, a lot of float trips on the Yellowstone and Stillwater, the Bighorn, and yes, we did tip it over.
Now you guys got 4 people, or would Mom get in there and have 5?
Yeah, I can recall one time in Yellowstone Park at the lake, we managed to get 5 in the thing, and but it was a little, because Yellowstone Lake, the wind would come up and you'd want to get off that lake because they could have some nasty waves. But generally, 4 is pretty maxed. 2's real comfortable. You could go 3.
Now I remember you guys got a trolling motor, or a Mercury 4-horse. You got a Mercury 4-horse for that thing.
Yep.
Was that with your dad, or was that after kind of your dad passed the ball on?
He got it when he bought it from a guy from Conoco, and the engine came with the boat. So we used that for trolling at Cooney.
And you and your dad, you enjoyed fishing with your dad?
Yeah,
Awesome.
we'd take him floating on the Yellowstone. He'd get hung up a lot, but he enjoyed going out with us.
Nice. So what was it like for you? Do you remember where you went to elementary school?
Shaw Heights Elementary and down in Westminster, Colorado. It's North Denver.
So you were born in Denver.
Born in Denver.
Huh.
Yeah.
And what about junior high? Were you guys in junior high there?
Yep, Shaw Heights Junior High. Went all my elementary and junior high years in Westminster, Colorado. We lived right across the street from the junior high school, and then across the field from the junior high, at the other end of the field was the elementary school.
Wow. So why did your parents leave Denver? What caused
My
them
dad
to
got
leave Denver?
transferred with Conoco. He worked in the marketing division of Conoco, so he wore a suit and tie to work every day. And so from Denver to Billings, and then that's pretty much where we stayed. He did get another offer to go to Houston, Texas, and he went down there and checked it out with my mom, and they both went, and so he took early retirement and stayed in Billings, and he got involved with city government, city council. He was on for like 12 years, and then he ran for mayor and got elected 3 times, as most you could get elected. And he was the mayor of Billings in the late 80s and 1990. And his term had term limits, so he couldn't run anymore.
Okay, hold on just a second. Okay, cool. Cool. So you guys moved here. You went to high school at West.
West Eye.
West is best. They were the Grizzlies or the Golden Bears.
Golden Bears, you know, you went there.
That's right. And when did you graduate?
1980. Maybe 70.
So this might. Yeah. Everybody watching the video knows, bro. They know. So this is some stuff people wrote in. They wanted to hear some of these questions answered. Do you remember your first girlfriend?
Oh, gee.
like.
I think her name was Jennifer.
What was that in the 2nd grade, or was
Easy
that?
now. No, there was this one gal in Denver, but I was so scared I didn't even talk to her. Vivian was her name, and I never did talk to her. And then Tom Decker, my friend at the time, he said, "Yeah, go for it, man, go for it." Well, I never did. And so I moved up here, and then I met this gal Jennifer in youth group at Methodist Church. That's where we were going to, the Methodist Church, and she was in the youth group. And she went to senior high, and I went to West. But yeah.
Now you brought up an interesting part of your life that probably very many people don't remember or know. You went to the Methodist Church, and you were involved in the youth group there. And we had just talked about this recently, that there was a man that had quite an impact on your life. And tell us his name, and tell us kind of the impact that he had.
It was Reverend Jim Fitzhugh, and because of him, I went to youth camp, Luckock Church Camp, south of Livingston, and it was on a Thursday night at camp. The Christian group, the Newmen, you can kind of conjure up why they call themselves the Newmen. But they were, at the time, they were, wow, all that in a bag of chips. So after their little singing and, testimony time, and then they prayed, and that's when I said yes to Jesus at that time, and I was like 16 or whatever it was, 17, somewhere in there. A junior, I think, in high school. And
but one of the things you brought up was he mentored you.
Yeah.
He took you under his wing. He had you help with little projects. And that, I was thinking back.
Bible studies.
A lot of
people,
house. Yeah, a lot of people, at your surprise party, which was awesome. They said, you gave them opportunities, you helped, you encouraged, and just about maybe 2-3 months ago, you told me a lot of that reason was because of how Jim had treated you in your life, kind of the mentorship that had happened.
Yeah.
So you graduate, and you basically, what are you thinking you're going to do when you graduate? Was it still male model back then? Were you still going to be a magazine, for Calvin Jeans?
That, and be a movie star. Except, I thought they'd come to me. That never happened, so I went to college, not really having a plan. Plus, back then the Vietnam War was going, and if that was the last year, if you weren't in college, you'd get drafted, and my draft number was 15, so I would have been in the Army. No ifs, ands, or buts, and I would have ended up in Vietnam. So,
and instead of having maybe Farrah, Liz, Candace, Maddie, you might have Ling Ling.
And Suling and
Wing.
Hopsing.
I mean, it might have turned out differently. Just a little humor, just a little humor, folks. Nobody needs to get offended. So you went to college. What did you go to college for?
Business. You
And
know, I
you
kind of
like-
wanted to do construction technology. They had a degree in that, and because I liked, like when we'd go on a lot of these vacations and trips, I'd see these bank curves on the highway. I'd see, you know, snow, big protected things over the highway, and how that had to be engineered and built. And but my math was a little on the iffy side, and I knew there'd be a lot of math and probably calculus and whatnot, and that was not really my forte at the time.
Well, so then my early recollections, just stories, is you picked up some work. Now, this was probably in between college or alongside college, but to do work at Yellowstone Park.
Right, in the summertime, worked for the Park Service, the government, cleaning campgrounds and picking up trash from the restaurant, the hotel, and doing other fun stuff there. Got involved with other people you'd meet from all over the country that came there, and still, you know, maybe not friends to this day, but for a long time afterwards I was, and I was even best man in one of the guys' wedding, Doug Fuller in Kansas. That was years after I worked there. And then Kevin Gallagher, he was from Iowa. Still, I think he lives immigrant close to the, you know, he was an electrician, and I stayed in contact with him for years. So, and then even this summer, a guy came through Billings, called me up from that time, and reached out to me, and it was amazing.
So you had great time there, Yellowstone Park. But what was how in that time you graduated college? When did you meet your first wife, Karen?
Bozeman, going to college, at a retreat. It was a Christian retreat at Flathead Lake. I'm not sure what the group was. There was a lot of charismatic Methodists, and we were at a Methodist camp on the west side of Flathead Lake, I think at Rawlins. And I told one of the guys there, who was one of the leaders, because they were talking about baptism, and I said, hey, you know, here's the lake, and I don't know if this would be a good time at this. He says, yeah, there's like 5 or 6 more that were already mentioned it. So we had a baptism
At Flathead Lake?
at Flathead Lake in May. The pastors wore wetsuits because it was stinking cold. Yeah. The ice was barely off the lake, almost.
Dude.
And got baptized, and as soon as they came up out, and this huge group of people were there, we had a bonfire going, and then they'd gather around, throw a blanket on you, and that's where I met Karen. I never knew her, and she comes up and says, love you, brother, that was awesome. And I turned to some other people there, who's that?
So was it like love at first sight type thing?
No, it was like, wow, who's that? That's cool. I want to get to know her.
Nice. So then you guys dated for a while?
Yeah.
Took her to, you guys made it back. Now, you were in Bozeman for college. Was she from Billings, or was that?
Yeah, she was from Billings, and she was in the nursing program up there, and I was in business marketing.
So when you guys got done with the college, you guys came back here and then you dated?
Yep.
And so you guys got married, and how long did you wait before you had kids?
About a year. Yeah, a year or two almost, year and a half. And Farah was our oldest, and that was in '76. We got married in '74.
And then were you guys, I know that you guys like to do stuff on like Friday nights, and I know Skateland at the time had a pretty amazing couple skating.
Good try. Whatever.
Like,
you must be confused with your own. Yeah. Going down. I can just see you now going down the rink. And then, didn't you try to win the limbo every time? It failed. Yeah.
Skateland, that's funny.
And they got the whole group cheering you on. You can do it. You can do it.
Oh, I'm sorry. So, you guys had Farah, and now at this time you're married, Scott, your brother, and then Spinner, but his name is
Dwayne.
Were they married yet?
No, I was the first.
And then, how
then
many years later did Liz come?
Like 4. About 4 years later, Liz.
And what was it like having 2 girls, bro? What was that like?
It was good.
You were probably had those little gals wrapped right around your fingers.
Yeah.
So I said, you and Karen had Liz, but how many years were you married to Karen?
7.
And so you and Karen ended up getting divorced.
Right.
And I know that's probably some sensitive information, but what went on through that?
Oh, basically, I kind of screwed up there, and another woman was the issue, and like I said, it was pretty much my fault there, and it was a sad time, really, and especially those few years right afterwards. Missed the girls, obviously. Karen moved to Phoenix, Arizona. That was real tough for me. But I asked God for forgiveness, and others, and even Karen, and yeah.
Well, and even today, I was at your party, Karen came.
Yeah.
And, it's a testimony to the goodness of God. You guys, a lot of people who might not live in the area know you guys. You guys are together almost every week, like family dinners, get-togethers, trips, vacations. This family's decided you guys are all in, and if you guys had a lot of anger and resentment and harboring that stuff, it would be miserable. But you guys have made it work. You guys have actually, from the time I've interacted with you, you guys seem like you're friends and everything's good. So praise God. The great thing about the word, it says we've all fallen short. We all have our spots, and
well, that's what you look at the Bible, and there's so many stories, and David, and look at all these. We're studying Samson right now, and how crazy that guy was, and anyway, so many stories, and they're not your PG rated, or G rated stories, and God used them, and He did that for a reason, because He sees where this is a fallen world and fallen man, but God is using them.
Well, at this point, we want to just interject. I have to do this for contractual reasons. We're going to take a little break from one of our sponsors. This is the electronic yodeling pickle, and we just want to send a shout out. Well, if you want to get on that, the old electronic yodeling pickle, folks. So just want to thank our sponsor for funding part of this interview.
Thank you, Timmy, for that. Yes.
So getting back to it, I'll bring up a spot in time after college. So after Yellowstone Park, you're going through and you're not going to business. So how did you get into the construction business? Because that's been, you've been in Vanarsdale construction for over 40 years.
So a lot of times in the summer, I do a little construction project here or there. I love working with my hands. At the end of the day, you'd leave, you look back, saw what you did. Oh, that was very satisfying. Well, so when I got done with college, I briefly sold life insurance, and that was tough. That didn't end so well. So then I went to work with Woolworths, which is now defunct, and I was
At the Woolworths, did they have the little restaurant where you could go eat?
Yeah.
Oh, I loved that as a kid. Yeah. That was cool when you go to the store and eat at the store.
That was, I was assistant manager.
Did you sometimes ever not get a paycheck? Eat your wages?
No, I would not. I would always get a paycheck. So I would hire certain people, not everyone. The manager would have me hire like the cleaning guy or fire the cleaning guy.
Ooh.
If he didn't work out, and then I would have to get another cleaning guy. And then, so the big Woolworths in Butte, Montana was on strike, and Butte's a big union town. So Woolworths tried to break the union, so to speak, and they got all these different assistant managers from 5 states because this store was big. And they tried to, it was called Woolco, like a Kmart. It was a Woolco, and that was the offshoot of Woolworths. And we were up there for a whole month, and it just, nothing. Nobody came in. Maybe 2 people a day, and they got hounded by the, employees because there was a picket line and they had to cross the picket line. So right after that, Woolworths always transfers you after so many, like a year or 2 at a store, 2 years maybe, and they were going to transfer me to Miles City, and I go, I'm not going to Miles City. And so I went into construction and started roofing. And I worked with my, at the time, my brother-in-law. He was roofing, and we worked together. And then liked it, did roofing, paid the bills, got into siding, got into sheetrock, just kept expanding over the years, got into framing.
Well, let's go back to place where you spent a lot of your life, kind of a haven for wayward men. 1203 Glencoe. Does that ring a bell?
Oh, yes.
The old greenhouse with the garage, and you lived a lot of life there. How many years did you live at Glencoe?
I don't know, a dozen? I don't know.
I mean, it was a lot. You had a lot of time there. But that, but you, and you know, you and Karen became amicable in those early days, and the girls, you get to see them every other weekend, is that right? Or how
every other weekend, 6 weeks in the summer.
So you guys, and you were a present dad, you'd go to their different school stuff, and you were in the mix and all that, which is awesome. But what church were you a part of? Did you stay with the Methodists back then? Or?
No, First Assembly.
How did you ever get to First Assembly?
Well, when I was still married to Karen, we kind of went to the Methodist, and we weren't totally satisfied there, and Sam Benson was coming to town as the new pastor at First Assembly. He even advertised on TV, kind of a flashy type dude, and we were attracted to some of that, so we checked it out, liked it, and started going there.
What was it? So what was that like? Was that like early '80s, like '82, '83?
Yeah.
What was it like to be? What? Because that's a very different perspective. The Methodist Church versus the Assembly of God Church. Even back then,
yeah.
I'm gonna guess that there was quite a contrast in even how they did church, right?
Oh, yeah.
What were some of the differences? Like, what was the worst difference in worship?
Oh, lots of music, contemporary, lots of instruments and
Drums.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, bass guitar, yeah.
And then when they came out with the Ocean's 11 series, they would have a lot of tryouts of people that go to church there because they dressed like they could be in Ocean's 11.
At this time, I'm going to ask you to stop with the jokes.
What was the pickle? Huh? Yeah, whatever. That's what I said, whatever.
Let me stay on topic, please. So, but they had, very charismatic, very conservative, like you said, a little more flashy, people falling down when you pray for them, you know, just a whole different persona of a church, emphasizing the power of God, emphasizing kind of a radical generosity, emphasizing a radical evangelism. I mean, you know, on the early days, I mean, did you start serving at First Assembly right away? Like, was that Perry Calavig time frame, or was that a few years later?
No, that was during that time. And
no, did Karen was at that point? Did you and Karen had you parted ways?
Well, yeah, we were just that was at the we're just we went there a few times, and then the divorce happened, and I stayed there, she didn't, and then I threw myself into ministry, the youth group, and it was beneficial for me.
So you helped with youth under Perry, and that, from my understanding, that youth group was kind of a crazy bunch. Like that was pretty wild and crazy. And so then this kind of carrot top, redhead, kind of different than Perry came in, and he actually, do you remember, he shut the youth group down? Like he closed it all down. Tim Behrens. And did you change your loyalty to work with Tim?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And then at that point, what was it like in youth ministry when you were working with Tim? What was some of your experiences and stuff you did there?
Oh, Tim was amazing. You know, he would. We would have like Thanksgiving meals where some kids would get the full 20 courses, and then others would get like bugs in their food and stuff, and we're going, what is going on here? But it was to show privilege of how things are in America versus other parts of the world and what people have to deal with. You know, and he would be experimental like that. He wouldn't just do regular things, you know, and he would have even like a 2 or 3 conference thing on dating, and we would have sessions on that even. And then of course the camps and the retreats, he'd have all that, of course. So he was very innovative, not your normal.
Very outreach oriented.
Yeah.
Loved and had a very large youth group. I mean, I think that youth group rivaled, anywhere from 100 to 150 at times.
Yeah.
And kids from all over town came.
All right.
That church, those days in that church were pretty cool. I mean, you guys rented the Metro a few times. You remember some of the big.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, those years, I mean, you guys had concerts, you had power teams, but then this crazy guy that I think you knew very well, Bruce Larson, he was kind of like different because he decided, or he had a vision with Sam to do big like passion play type stuff.
Right.
And did you get involved in those?
Oh yeah.
That's one of the places I think you met Joyce Walter, which back then was Joyce Dorman.
Right.
She's been your hairstylist for
quite a few years.
65 years, which thank you, Joyce. Started when she was 6. So, but
that still would make her 71.
Oh, older, saying she's older than you. Interesting. Trying to nudge her. I see. Sorry, Joyce. But the point of it is that you basically you were involved. You were all in, and basically you loved the church, supported. Did you guys do any mission trips back then?
We went to Calgary, the Olympics. Calgary, Alberta, Canada.
Calgary?
Calgary. There's a song there.
To all the girls of love. No, not that song. Different song.
Different song. We go to Calgary with my peeps. Anyway, it was the '88 Olympics, and we went up there.
Now, did you just make that song up?
No, there's a song. I remember singing it, and it was amazing. And they even wanted me to record it.
Wow. So did you bring your reel-to-reel on the bus, or?
Yeah. And we did mimes and street kind of outreach type stuff, and the best response, believe it or not, was like this little like a kindergarten thing. We even did it. They asked us to go there, and we did, and the kids loved it. And
so you were faithful in youth ministry all the time. You got Vanarsdale Construction, and the church was also useful because you'd meet guys there. You had how many years did you play softball? Like 20-something years?
Yeah, 20 years.
I mean, and you guys went to championships. You guys were a great team. Have even to this day, great friendships. I remember guys like Jerry Hudson pitched, and Rod Richards was the wheels, and Kenny Merkel, and
even Joe McCarthy.
Joe, and, and you had a bunch of guys.
Rick Richmond.
Oh, Rick, the vacuum cleaner glove. That guy had a glove and an arm. Legends back then in those days. And and so as church has it, you're growing your business, you're helping young guys, you're paying guys his way to camp, that's always been kind of your MO. You not that it's you're looking down on you. I think you've always just been a good Samaritan. You've always helped kind of the down and outer, guys that need a hand, guys looking to try and do better, and some guys didn't know. I mean, you've not every guy you've mentored or helped did good. Some guys you've given a lot to and helped a lot, and they didn't do very good.
Yeah.
But you've never stopped helping. Even now, even as you're 70, you got a couple guys that you're pouring your life into and supporting and helping, and that's great. Who are some people in your life that back in those days where Tim was a youth pastor and in that season with Bruce, who were some of your buddies that you hung out with a lot?
Timmy Quintrell.
Well, really, to be honest with you, I was gonna be a little. You knew me and you took me to church, but I really wasn't your friend. I was like a kid in your youth group back then.
Oh.
So I seem to remember. I think I remember there was a gal you were dating, Kim Love. Was that?
Yeah.
Oh, Kimmy.
Yeah.
And God rest her soul. I think she's still alive or estranged or something. I don't know. We forgive her. We just love her. Anyway, Kim Love, but you took me to church. But like your friends, I remember one night for New Year's Eve, you said, hey, come with me. We're going to a New Year's Eve party. And I walked in and there was Mike and Nicole Croft. There was Chris Deedy, Joe McCarthy. And there was this whole group. So you rolled with kind of those guys. Those were some of your buddies.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they were younger, but every now and then, yeah, you bet.
But I mean, for some reason, you always had this bent, like you always liked hanging with the younger crowd. Is there why?
Well, that's because of my mentality. It's always been more of a young you know, I don't know, it just was. And I had fun with him, like Kenny Merkel. We do a bunch of fun stuff together and trips, Denver and whatnot, and then skiing and stuff. Like you remember doing fun stuff with Brent Schmidt and going skiing with him.
Well, that Brent's coming a little further down the road. Like that's going to be like in early night, because Tim Barron's left, and then you had
Nate Wolf.
interim was kind of Pete and Debbie Gilbert, and you helped them on and off. But that youth group was like 30 kids, and they had kind of a tender heart to just kind of maintain. And then this Italian comes in.
Before him, it was Nate Wolf.
Oh, Nate Wolf. Yeah, Nate Wolf was there, and he was, him and Jason Younger served as college and youth, and then Sammy made the transition out, and then Gail Craig took over, and so you worked with Nate, and Nate was there for a couple of years.
Maybe.
Yeah.
And then he went on to go with Sam at Washington.
Yeah. And so you still helped the youth, and then Pete and Debbie, and then Dave Mawalo came in. And really, where Nate was concerned, I had been working with you, and people know the funny nail story and some of the different stuff we've been through.
Nail? Okay. There's a lot more than just the nail.
For contract purposes, folks, we've got to talk about one of our sponsors, the Yodeling Pickle.
That's what Timmy was doing when the nail got stuck in his butt.
Okay, we're back. So we'll have no more inappropriate comments about people's rear ends, okay? Yes, I did have the nail story that everybody has almost based our friendship on over the years, was the bent nail that I landed so hard on and put a 45 degree bend in it.
It was already bent, folks.
Oh, thank you.
We were ripping the roof off, and when you do that, you bend nails. Anyway.
So, but even back then, in those eras, I was getting ready to, I was a junior, and you had me, anything I could do to pay for camp or retreat, any spending money, you had me doing roofs, you had me cleaning up, you had me going and getting stuff. I even remember being at job sites, and you're like, here, put this alternator on my car. And I was like, well, how do you do that? I'd never touched a tool before. And you're like, well, look, you just take these bolts out, you stretch it, And I remember working on your car. I remember putting a barbecue grill together. I remember cleaning your garage countless times, and detailing your truck, whatever. And that was great in those days, because it's not my video, but you had a huge impact in being like a dad to me, and a friend and a mentor. And but you were doing that, just out of what you've been shown from that pastor, and I love that. So Dave comes in, the youth group's about 35 folks, and in the church at that time, like, the church had like a God visit for 3 years. Do you remember that 3-year period? The youth group went to almost 250 kids. We had to meet at the hotel, the Ramada.
That was, wow, because we had to pack up, set up, tear down, bring it all back to the church every week. That was a chore.
That was for 3 years.
Yeah.
But president of the student council, senior, got saved. Kids from West got saved. And God was literally showing up in the youth group, and as well as in church. I'll never forget the day that a guy named Steve Heimbichler felt like God gave, he was paralyzed almost, and he said the rose of Sharon is in the place, and people ran to the altar. You could smell fresh roses in the house.
Right.
And that kicked off a 3-year move of God, and you were part of that. And so time flies by, you're still working, you're still doing that stuff. Now, one thing we haven't talked about yet, and we have to go back, is your love for skiing and ski patrol. So how did that all fit into your life?
So I'm divorced, and you just want to I don't know. I like skiing anyway. Scott, my brother, was on ski patrol, so he'd tell me about it. And I said, well, they got openings? He goes, yeah, you just try out and do a couple different things, try out techniques, like handling a sled, first aid sled, you know, you get training that, you got CPR, advanced first aid, you do all that. And then, so I got on, and I liked it, and I'd go up quite a few times, because you had, like, I don't know, 15, 16 duty days of skiing a season, so you're up there quite a bit on weekends. And so a lot of times that fell when Farrah or Liz were with me, and so I'd take them up, and that's how they really got into skiing. And they still do it to this day in their family.
How old were they when you guys first started?
Oh, little. You know, grade school, junior high, you know, that era.
And you really did ski patrol up until just maybe...
Oh, 20-some years back.
So you when you turned 50-ish, your knee started giving you a little bit of issue?
Well, and it got to be... the management at the ski area would limit the number of ski patrollers because they had to pay a certain amount to the Forest Service for our season passes. It's all about money, and it was so stupid because they would make enough money. It was anyway. So we'd have to have more and more duty days, and it got to be like almost every weekend. And if you wanted to ski another area like Bridger or Big Sky or out of state, it was almost impossible because you couldn't get anyone to cover your duty. You'd call them up. You'd have to call 8, 9 people to, hey, can you cover this day? I'll cover you on this day. And, oh, sorry, I'm already covering for this guy. And, you know, it was like... And so I just said, all right, I've done it 12 years. That's enough. It's not getting as fun as it used to be. And
did you ever feel like you were kind of ruining your life when you bought tons of expensive sunglasses like Barney, Serengeti, Ray-Ban, Maui Jim, Costa? Do you feel like you kind of wasted a lot of your resources over the years?
no, because a lot of times, more than one time, in fact, I can't count how many times these certain women would say, did anyone tell you you look like Mel Gibson? And other people would actually say, hey, Mel. And so I would keep wearing these and try different ones.
When we get back, we'll cut that part out. Anyway, we'll get back to the nitty gritty. So anyway, you went through that phase, and yet still in serving at the church. You know, after Dave went on to Kansas City, then this guy that was completely polar opposite of Dave, a short, little, different, not muscular, and that was Dwight Kilborn. And you served with Dwight for several years. And then Dwight left, and then you served with Sean McFarland. Is that, no, not Sean McFarland.
John Steele.
John Steele.
That was the last one, and
Yeah,
I was kind of half time with that guy, and because I was married, you know, with Joni at the time. In fact, I was married at the time to Joni, my second wife, with Dwight Kilborn. And so I had, and then we had a baby I had a baby with Joni. It was Maddie.
Well, let's go back. I mean, that was you met Joni at First Assembly through a friend.
Right.
And she saw you in a pair of, back then, I think it was a pair of Bolets, and she thought you actually looked like, who's that guy that's...
Backstreet Boy, one of those guys?
No, the guy that sang with Willie Nelson. What's that guy's name? Anyway.
Julio Iglesias?
Yeah, she thought you looked like Julio.
Oh.
So,
Down by the schoolyard?
I remember, easy Paul Simon, let's get back on track, okay? So, I remember being youth pastor in Spokane. In fact, I remember right before then Dave left, and then I felt the call to go to youth ministry. And I'll never forget one of the last times that we said goodbye, and it was very hard, was at the Elmer's parking lot by Target. And that was almost impossible. In fact, that was one of the hardest days because you'd been right there in my life, and thank God we stayed connected all those years.
Yeah.
And, but you met Joni through a friend, and you guys, I remember you calling me and saying, I'm getting married, I want you to be the best man, and I want you to come help me make it awesome. Like, you're like, if I'm getting married again, I want it to be over the top. And back then I was doing a lot of production, lighting, fog machines, sound.
Yep.
And that wedding, to be honest, was one of the greatest weddings. I mean, the doors open, and most people would think, you know, and it wasn't that you didn't love Joni or want to give her top bid. She was the bride, but you know, at that point, years ago, you know, you'd been single a long time, and so everyone was like, it's amazing. KVA is getting married again, and the doors open to Star Wars, and the lights and the fog shoot into the sanctuary. You remember that, and it was unbelievable. People were taken back, like they were, and you were smiling, the biggest I'd ever seen with your girls.
My daughters.
Those two sweethearts were
walking
on
me
your
down
arms.
the aisle.
That's
yeah.
awesome. And then we closed the doors, and then we did another song for Joni. I think it was the dun, 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 dun. No, it wasn't the Darth Vader one. No, it was another song. But we opened up, and Joni came down that day, and then you guys, of course, took your honeymoon, I think, to
Hawaii.
Yeah, that's right. Like literally, you got to your room at almost like 11 at night. And you had to get up at 4 in the morning for your flight. And so you stayed married to Joni for what, 14 years?
Well, 14, 15.
And you know, unfortunately, life has a way. Every marriage, every couple has to be 100% in, and you know, things didn't go the way you wanted it to with Joni, and she made her decisions, and that's just the way it was. No, you know, no need to sling her through the mud. And again, another situation for you where you're having to heal and deal and try to figure out where God is in all this, and but if I remember correctly, you had kind of left First Assembly after you guys had been married a while. You wanted to kind of infuse her to where she was kind of not wanting to go to church, if I remember, and so you found a church that Vern Streeter was going to, and you were trying to get her to kind of get plugged back in, and up in the Heights, I don't remember. Harvest. And I went there a couple times with you, and you liked it, and we're trying to go there. And meantime, and in fact, now we're kind of fast forwarding, but here your daughters are graduating. Your one daughter's going to Rhema Bible College. Then Liz, she went off a different direction to kind of the medical field.
Exercise physiology up at Bozeman.
Well, and Liz got a Rocky Mountain thing, right?
Then after that, she had her degree in that, then applied at Rocky in the PA program and got accepted.
And you know, Pete, we talked about this at your, you know, a little bit the other night with Farrah, but you know, the way life happens. I mean, you got out of that, even though things didn't go the way you wanted with Joni, and you had to work through a lot of that. You got Maddie, and you know, Maddie's one of a kind, just like all your kids. I mean, you got Candace out of that deal, and Candace is, you know, there's Carissa, but Carissa's just kind of taking herself out of the picture, and that's her loss, because you gave those kids a great life. You know, you loved them, provided for them, took care of them, and split the food stamps up evenly. You just, you know. But so you're so Maddie comes into the picture, and you know, you're a little older. You know, you didn't want to have a kid at like 47, 48, 49 years old. But again, it was a trust God moment where you had to trust God, and you raised through Maddie, Maddie, I'm sure with you working and her mom working, you guys, now Maddie's in college and she's got many gifts. She's very intelligent. She's a spark. She's no less than the other gals that you've been trusted to raise, So you go to Harvest, and then you kind of...
Even at Harvest, I was involved with some drama stuff there, and they even had what they called Road Trip, and Vern would do these videos along with his sermons, and so one of them that they asked me to be involved with, I was the lead guy in a road trip video that took me all the way down Colorado, New Mexico, Albuquerque, the Navajo Reservation, the Grand Canyon, and even on the Vegas Strip. And they filmed this 4 or 5 part sermon series.
That's funny because things were kind of choppy with you and Joni, and you were trusting God that maybe something would get kind of worked out there. But praise God. So yeah, you were very involved. Every time you've gotten to church, except maybe in the last chapter, we'll say, you kind of pulled back and slowed back a little, but you're very active, very involved. And I'll say that things changed for you in a different way, because you, rather than being in the youth group and some of that, in the last season of your life, you've been really, you've gotten pretty involved in the, is it called IDEA? What's the...
International Deaf Education Association, and I went over to the Philippines in 2019, worked at a deaf school over there that Dennis Drake from Billings started 30-some years ago, and it's still going, and I'm on the board, and yeah, it's very rewarding.
And you also took several missions trips over the last several. So and then you've adopted some kids through Compassion International. You did that. One of the things that I remember early on, you've always stayed active. You've stayed skiing up until you had your knee done, and you'll be on the slopes again next year, Lord willing. But you love to jet ski. You love to get out on the boat. You love to fish. We could do a video just on our adventures. We've had some freaking crazy fun adventures.
Rafting on the Green River, rafting on the Yellowstone Stillwater, Bighorn, rafting on the Smith River.
Well, and you remember when we were at Branson, and then that time when I trusted you with my $100 reel, and you wanted to switch
the one that you found at the side of the road,
and then you dumped it in the water. Do you remember that? What was that like when you lost my expensive?
Kind of laughing as I remember. I goes, "Oops! Look at that! I just threw the pole in the water."
Well, and then. What was your reaction when I had you on the floor of the boat and I was doing this clutching, what was that called, the camel clutch maneuver, and you were tapping and begging, and then I made you swim in and go get it from the bottom? Is that... You remember. Anyway, back to serious. Sorry. No, so in your life, you've gone through a lot of good. You've had some rough patches. Through all this time.
Don't we all?
Oh, yes, sir. But through this time, and I can go back in time a little, you found a niche in the construction business, not only to do go in and remodel and stuff, but one day you got this idea about building a log home. Dave Smith, or not Dave Smith, what was
he? He was my log home broker guy, and he was on ski patrol with me, so I already had an in there, and then he provided me with leads, and I would do most of my log home construction through that, and I've done 13 of them, and then
and you're that's quite a feat, actually, to do that many log homes. So most people in the secular world, there's a whole new meaning to the term tonguing and grooving for you. That's a log home term, correct?
Pretty much, Larry. It is. Yeah.
were doing log homes, and you enjoyed that a lot. I mean, you were very successful doing that, as well as roofs, as well as remodels, decks. I mean, you've been in construction, and your brother, Spinner, you guys both over 40 plus years construction in Billings. And that name has stood the test of time. Even today, you're 70. Yeah, folks, that is right. He is 70. And you're still helping. Now things have changed. Because you really, I think missions kind of gripped your heart in the last 5-6 years. And you love pouring into and helping. And really, I remember you went through a time when you were at Matt Benson's church after kind of you got divorced and you kind of went over there, but you loved going to Faith Chapel because the worship was the best anywhere, and that could even rival nationally. They have poured resources and they really they do a great job. And so you go over there. Well, then I remember us talking. I said, you can't have divided loyalty. And I think sometimes in the way church is now, people think they can just treat buffet like church like a buffet, like it's pick here, and no. I said you can't do this to that church, the little church. Either stay with Matt, believe for better days, or believe that it's going to grow, or transfer your loyalty and go to Faith Chapel. And I think the one thing that you said that stuck out in my mind is you were like, well, there's a lot more female options at Faith Chapel. You remember that?
No, I don't.
You didn't say that?
No.
Okay. So, but you got plugged into Faith Chapel, and
yeah,
that really was a game changer for you.
Yeah.
Number one, you began to see a lot of friends from First Assembly and from Vern's Church, and over the years, I mean, you've been very relational. You love game nights. You love hanging out. You've made everybody who knows you, there's not one person, I mean, that you're just loved and respected, and that's a big thing. You're revered. People love being around KVA. You're a legend. But Faith Chapel, well, I take that back. It's more of an embarrassing old you know. But you went to Faith Chapel. And you really started, in fact, the last couple of years, you've really taken some excitement to Camp on the Boulder, which is the camp that the church has. And you've just been part of that crew. In fact, you've been more than a mentor there. You've got to oversee and help, and you've just kind of made a point to devote a lot of your time there. What's that been like? What's Faith Chapel been like for you?
Oh, yeah. The opportunities, because it's a bigger church, and this is, somebody could go to the big church and get lost in it, or just treat it as just a little get lost in the crowd and go when you want. Well, I did the opposite. I went to see what they offer, and they offer a lot. And with this camp that they're now have, and there's a lot of work to be done up there, and it fits right in with my skill level. And these guys that go up to work, they're great guys, and we get along excellent, and we'll fish after work sometimes on the river, and we break bread together. We have devotions together before we start our day of work up there. It's great. It's awesome.
So what do you, I mean, we kind of blitzed through in the last 45 minutes a lot.
Yeah.
I'm sure you probably have memories out the in fact, Wazoo was kind of funny, but you've got a lot of memories over the years. What are some things looking back that some of your, the Bible talks to us about memory stones, memorials, and Jacob would build a memorial, Abraham would build a memorial. What are some memorial stones looking back through your life that you hold on to, where you've seen God intervene, or you've just you knew that He was with you, or just cool people or friends, or what are some memorial stones in your life?
Youth camp when I first came to Jesus, and then working in Yellowstone, going praying with those girls in Cook City, and God working a miracle through us at that time, and lengthening legs, and straightening backs, and then mission trips and doing outreach and people opening up to what God was doing at these mission trips and youth group, and 20 years of youth group, and yeah, I don't know, even to this day, interacting with guys on our work teams up at camp, and then family, and going on trips with the kids and as a family unit, amazing trips.
And that's something you guys love, like love,
and going to Kansas City a lot, seeing you, and going to Kansas City on Thanksgiving with Maddie, and
yeah, we've done that a lot.
Oh yeah, and going on fishing trips with you to Branson and Bass Lake with the Vietnam vet guys. That was...
Well, and I digress. It would be very rude for us to not circle back on one Dr. Brent, the troublemaker Schmidt, which he kind of came into play during the Dave Waller years. Even now, you and I was giving Murph a little courtesy wave there. There you go. Hey, Brent. But tell me about Brent and your guys' friendship. You guys have had a great friendship too.
He actually worked for me briefly, and he helped out on a log cabin up there at Roberts, and I love Brent. He's great. And then he went on to Hungry Horse to be the pastor, and we connected here, a few years back, and I'm glad we did, because I've gone up there every year, and we go fishing together, and we'll hike to these mountain lakes and go fishing. And a couple of years ago, went to this Clayton Lake, and coming down from the lake, there's some mountain badger that I thought was going to tear my ankles off, and I was screaming like a little girl almost. It's like 6 feet in front of me, and I'm going, ah! Brett pulls out his .44 ready to blast the thing. And then we'd pick huckleberries, and then we got connected with the outfitter, and I got a picture right there on the mantle of this honking big lake, or 20-some pound lake trout. Brent was on that trip. That was awesome.
So one of the things that having 3 girls and now 4 girls, you now are the proud father of 3 guys, father-in-law, and you got Sean Jones, Ben Sickler, and Steve Wells. Tell me about these 3 guys.
They're all great. They're very amazing son-in-laws and husbands, and we have a lot of fun with all of them and enjoy all of them. And our gatherings together are very enjoyable, and yeah.
Well, and you're a grandpa.
9 grandkids.
Can you say all 9 of them?
Yep. Jackson.
Actually, can you say them in chronological order?
That's what I'm trying to.
Okay,
here.
let's see it here.
So it's Jackson, Cooper,
Leviticus,
and then Landon, but that's Shauna Farah's. Then there's Eva, and Eva is older than Landon. Eva and Eli, and that's with Ben and Liz. Then Amy, Lydia, Claire, and Henry with Steve, and that's their chronological order there.
And what's it like? I mean, you had a great. I mean, even though you were a single dad, and you co-parented like that with Karen, and then with Joni. I mean, you enjoyed fatherhood. I mean, you loved your kids. What's it like being a grandpa though? Do you see it being better, the same? Do you love being a grandpa to those kids?
Oh yeah.
What are some of the cool things you do with those kids?
Oh, well, I like on our gathering when we get together, it's winter or summer. I like interacting with them, talking with them, and teasing them, and we do a lot of skiing, snow skiing, and it's fun to ski with them. And now they've gotten even faster than me, which I didn't think was possible, but it is. And then, like we went on the Green River and the Smith River, and just having them in that situation and on those trips, very fun. I've gone hunting with Ben and Eli. I've gone hunting with Sean, Ben, and all the boys in my fifth wheel, elk hunting. That was great. Loved it.
So I'm going to ask you kind of an interesting question here. You are able to walk in, and God totally gives you an audience with the people that not only have impacted your life, like I'll ask that first, like who would you say in a spiritual sense or in a relational sense, who has had the most impact on your life? And if you could be with them and have audience with them, what would you tell them? Who has had a lot of influence in your life?
You. And yeah, and then a short, brief time, it was Ron Todd. I went on an Ethiopia mission trip with him, and I went to the Philippines with him, and I worked at camp with him. And then tragically, he had a heart attack at camp and died. That was, still shake my head on that one. Tim Barron's had impact working with him, and even Dave Moalo, at the time, that was impacting.
Well, and now I'm going to switch gears here. You've had a ton of people that you've impacted. And what would you say to the people that you've had impact on? Like if you could ever just say, if they put a mic out and filled the room with people you've had impact on, what would you say to them? Like if you had one more chance to influence or impact them, what would you say to them?
I'd say, I love you. Thanks for actually being in my life at those times. You meant a lot to me during that time. And go on and spread that same spirit to others around you.
If you could leave your kids with something and you could challenge them or tell them something, what would you tell them?
Just, realize that Jesus is the most important thing. It might sound cliche, and you might have heard it from your parents, you might have heard it from even me or others, but when it gets down to the nitty-gritty, God and Jesus are the most important, and they will never leave you, they will never forsake you in any scenario, situation in your life, personal, work-related, whatever it might be.
That's awesome. All right, bro. Well, we've had an awesome time talking, and I didn't even talk about how much you love golf, how much you love, the different times with your folks. Like, we could do a whole thing on the time your folks, for their 50-year wedding anniversary, did a big cruise. There's a lot. We could tell a bunch of stories, but I want you to pray for your family. I just want you to bless and just whatever God puts in your heart for your kids, your grandkids, any part of your family. I don't even care if you pray for your brothers and sisters, but I just want you to bless your family and pray over them and speak some awesome words over them. And as we're kind of rounding up this interview.
All right, Lord, I just lift up my family, Sean Farah, Jackson Cooper, Landon, Ben, Liz, Eva, Eli, Candace, Steve, Emmy, Lydia, Claire, and Henry, even Carissa. Father, I just pray the blood of Jesus over them. Direct them, guide them, watch over them daily. Keep them in your hand, guide them, especially the grandkids. Show them you, show them Jesus, show them the path, and then let them not only show the path, but let them walk the path. Give them the strength to walk it, guidance through the years, because there's going to be ups and downs, and I'm going to trust you that you got your hand on them for the rest of their lives, and don't let them fall by the wayside. In the name of Jesus, keep them in your fold. Hallelujah, Father. I also lift up Scott and Lynn and their kids, and Dwayne and Sarah, and Andrew and Brandon, and their families and their situations, and keep them also in your fold and your care and your guidance, and show them your truth and show them your way, and let them realize that is the correct and true way. And thank you that you're going to do that. Thank you that you're going to do that in the name of Jesus. And I pray that for all my close friends, especially Tim and Don, and Jared and Brittany, and their situation and their families, and yeah, just the blood of Jesus over them. Protect them daily and give them strength, guidance, and reassurance, because I love them all. I love them all dearly. Thank you, God. Amen. And that's a wrap.
We're live here at prostate.com. We're Jigs is on his 12-minute cycle here. You ever need to take a piss real bad? I do. But I run out of my prostate pills. What do you need those pills for, old man? You don't need those pills. Dude, the faucet's on, but nothing's coming out. What's wrong? Well, we're live here at the fishing trip. I have to document by court order. And then I see Kim and Lily. Is that what you named her? Is Lily your little toy there? He's chirping it like a bird, folks. This is embarrassing. You get stage fright, bud, when the cameras are on?
No.
Diggler?
No, the